The massive alien ship moved through space like a dark mountain. Its name was Void Render, and it was 3 kilometers long. The ship had a black metal hull covered in weapon ports. Plasma cannons lined its sides like teeth in a giant mouth. At the front, a huge cannon pointed forward like a spear. Commander Al stood on the bridge of his ship. He was tall and thin, with blue-gray skin and 4 arms. His species, had been conquering other worlds for 500 years. No one had ever beaten them in battle. "Commander," said his weapons officer, "we have found a ship." Al looked at the main screen. In the distance, a much smaller ship floated near a yellow star. The ship looked tiny compared to his mighty vessel. It was only 800 meters long and looked like it was made from old metal parts welded together. "What species?" asked Al. "Humans, sir, from the planet Earth." Al had heard of humans. They were a young species that had just started traveling between stars. They had no real weapons and no strong ships. They were like insects compared to the mighty hegemony. "Open a communication channel," ordered Al. The screen changed to show the bridge of the human ship. A woman with brown hair and dark eyes stared back at him. She wore a blue uniform with gold bars on her shoulders. Behind her, Al could see other humans working at their stations. "I am Commander Al of the hegemony," he said. "You are in our space. Leave now or be destroyed." The human woman did not look afraid. She stood straight and looked directly at him. "I am Captain Sarah of the United Earth ship Defiant. We are protecting the colony on 442B. We will not leave." Al was surprised. Most species begged for mercy when they saw his ship. These humans seemed different, but it did not matter. They would die just like all the others. "Captain," he said, "you do not understand. My ship can destroy entire planets. Your little vessel cannot fight us. I will give you one chance to save your crew. Surrender now." Captain shook her head. "Commander, you do not understand humans. We do not surrender. We do not run away. We protect those who need protection." Al looked at his tactical officer. "How many weapons does their ship have?" "Very few, sir. Some small missile launchers and basic energy weapons. Nothing that can hurt us." "And their shields?" "Weak, sir. One shot from our main cannon will destroy them." Al turned back to the screen. Captain was still waiting for his answer. Behind her, he could see human crew members working at their stations. They did not look scared. They looked ready to fight. "Captain," said Al, "your bravery is foolish. We have destroyed thousands of ships like yours. We have burned entire worlds. Your colonies mean nothing to us." "Maybe," said Captain, "but they mean everything to us." Al was getting angry. These humans did not know their place. They needed to learn respect for their superiors. "You have 1 minute to surrender," he said. "After that, I will show you the power of the hegemony." The communication ended. Captain's face disappeared from the screen. "Sir," said the tactical officer, "the human ship is moving closer to us." "Closer?" Al could not believe it. "They are attacking us." "It appears so, sir." Al laughed. It was not a pleasant sound. "These humans are even more foolish than I thought. They think they can hurt us with their toy weapons." He looked at his weapon stations. Each cannon on his ship could destroy a city. His quantum disruptors could tear apart the strongest armor. His graviton torpedoes could crush anything in space. "Sir," said the communications officer, "the humans are sending a message." "Put it on screen." Captain appeared again. This time she was not alone. Behind her stood other crew members. They all looked calm and ready. "Commander Al," she said, "we know you think we are weak. We know you think we will run away. But you are wrong about humans. We have something you do not understand." "And what is that?" asked Al. "Hope," said Captain, "and the will to protect others no matter the cost." Al shook his head. "Hope will not save you from my weapons." "We will see," said Captain. The communication ended again. "Sir," said the tactical officer, Their ship is now in weapons range. Al looked at the human ship on his screen. It was so small compared to his vessel. It looked like a metal box with engines. He could not understand why they were not running away. "Maybe they do not know how powerful we are," said his first officer. "Then we will teach them," said Al. "All weapons prepare to fire." The bridge filled with the sound of charging weapons. The massive plasma cannons began to glow with deadly energy. The quantum disruptors hummed with power. The graviton torpedoes were loaded and ready. "Sir," said the weapons officer, "all weapons ready." Al looked at the human ship one more time. It was still moving toward them. The humans were either very brave or very stupid. Either way, they would be dead soon. "Target their engines first," he ordered. "I want them alive to see their ship destroyed piece by piece." "Yes, sir." "Fire when ready." The weapons officer's hand moved over his control panel. In a few seconds, the humans would learn what happened to those who the hegemony. They would learn that hope was not enough to stop superior firepower. But as Al watched the human ship, something strange happened. The ship began to glow with a soft blue light. It was not the glow of weapons charging. It was something else, something he had never seen before. "What is that light?" he asked. "Unknown, sir. Our sensors cannot identify it." Al felt a small worry in his mind, but he pushed it away. No matter what tricks the humans had, they could not stop his weapons. "Fire," he commanded. The first plasma cannon fired with a sound like thunder. A beam of pure energy shot across space toward the human ship. The beam was bright red and hot enough to melt mountains. It had destroyed hundreds of enemy vessels before. Commander Al watched the beam strike the human ship. He expected to see the vessel explode in a ball of fire. He expected to see metal and bodies scattered across space. Instead, something impossible happened. The beam hit the human ship and simply disappeared. There was no explosion, no damage. The energy just vanished like water thrown on sand. "What?" said Al. "Tactical officer, report." The tactical officer stared at his instruments. His 4 hands moved quickly over the controls. "Sir, the beam hit their ship directly, but there is no damage, no energy signature, nothing." "That is impossible," said Al. "Fire again." 3 more plasma cannons fired. The red beams crossed space and struck the human ship from different angles. Again, the energy just disappeared. The ship did not even shake. "Sir," said the weapons officer, "all direct hits, but the human ship shows no damage at all." Al could not believe what he was seeing. His plasma cannons could crack continents. They had burned cities to ash. They had destroyed the strongest shields ever built by any species. "Use the quantum disruptors," he ordered. The quantum disruptors were different weapons. They did not fire energy beams. Instead, they tore apart matter at the smallest level. They unmade things atom by atom. Nothing could survive them. Purple light shot from the void render toward the human ship. The disruptor beams hit the vessel and began their terrible work. Al watched his screens, waiting to see the human ship dissolve into nothing. But the ship remained whole. "Report," shouted Al. "Sir, the quantum disruptors are not working. The human ship is absorbing the energy somehow." "Absorbing?" Al felt a cold fear growing in his chest. "That is not possible. Nothing can absorb quantum energy." On the main screen, he could see the human ship more clearly now. The blue glow around it was getting brighter. Strange patterns of light moved across its hull like waves on water. "Sir," said the communications officer, "the humans are sending a message." "Put it on screen." Captain appeared again. She was still calm, but now she was smiling. It was not a cruel smile. It was the smile of someone who knew a secret. "Commander Al," she said, "thank you for the demonstration. Our ship systems have learned much from your weapons." "Learned?" said Al. "What do you mean?" "You will understand soon," said Captain. Please continue your attack. We are not finished learning." The communication ended. Al stared at the screen. The human captain had asked him to continue attacking. She had thanked him for firing at her ship. What kind of madness was this? "Sir," said his first officer, "perhaps we should use the graviton torpedoes." Graviton torpedoes were the most powerful weapons on the ship. They created tiny black holes that crushed everything around them. Even space itself bent under their power. "Yes," said Al. "Load all tubes full spread." "Yes, sir." The torpedo tubes opened along the sides of the void render. 6 massive torpedoes slid out into space. They were each the size of a small ship and glowed with dark energy. "Fire!" The torpedoes shot toward the human vessel. They left trails of twisted space behind them. When they hit, they would create gravity wells strong enough to crush planets. The torpedoes struck the human ship. Space around the vessel twisted and bent. Dark energy swirled like a storm. Al held his breath, waiting for the human ship to be crushed into nothing. But when the energy cleared, the ship was still there. Not only was it undamaged, but the blue glow around it was now much brighter. "Sir," said the tactical officer, his voice shaking, "the human ship has absorbed all the graviton energy. Our torpedoes did nothing." Al felt panic rising in his throat. He had used his 3 most powerful weapon types: plasma cannons, quantum disruptors, and graviton torpedoes. All of them had failed completely. "Use everything," he ordered. "All weapons at once. Burn that ship out of space." "Sir, are you sure? If we fire everything at once, we might damage our own ship." "Do it." The void render unleashed its full power. Every weapon on the ship fired at the same time. Plasma beams, quantum disruptors, graviton torpedoes, particle cannons, and fusion missiles all shot toward the human vessel. The space between the ships filled with deadly energy. The human ship disappeared in a ball of destruction. The combined firepower was enough to destroy a small moon. No ship could survive such an attack. But as the energy faded, the human ship appeared again. It was completely undamaged. The blue glow around it was now so bright it hurt to look at. "Impossible," whispered Al. "Sir," said the communications officer, "the humans are sending another message." Captain appeared on screen. Behind her, Al could see human crew members working calmly at their stations. None of them looked worried or afraid. "Commander," said Captain, "that was impressive. Your weapons are very powerful, but I think it is our turn now." "Your turn," said Al. "Yes. You see, Commander, humans learned long ago that the best defense is not just to block attacks. The best defense is to learn from them and use them to grow stronger." Captain gestured to someone off-screen. A human male stepped into view. He wore a white coat and carried a data pad. "This is Dr. Martinez, our Chief Science Officer," said Captain. "Doctor, please explain to the commander what just happened." Dr. Martinez looked directly at Al. "Commander, your weapons just gave us a complete analysis of military technology. Our ship's hull has adaptive nanomaterials that study incoming attacks and learn how to stop them. But more than that, they learn how to store the energy and use it for our own purposes." "What do you mean?" asked Al. "Every shot you fired at us has been absorbed and converted," said Dr. Martinez. "We now have enough energy to power our ship for a year, and we have learned how to use your own weapons against you." Captain stepped forward again. "Commander Al, humans do not build the biggest guns. We build the defenses, and when someone attacks us, we turn their strength into our strength." Al felt his legs go weak. His mighty ship with all its terrible weapons had just made the human ship stronger. He had given them power and knowledge. "That is not possible," he said. "Watch and learn," said Captain. The human ship began to move. It turned toward the void render and started to accelerate. As it moved, the blue glow around it began to change. It was no longer just blue. Now it showed flashes of red, purple, and dark energy. "Sir," said the tactical officer, "the human ship is charging weapons. The energy readings are. Sir, they are using our own weapon signatures against us." Al realized what was about to happen. The humans were going to fire his own weapons back at him, weapons powered by the energy he had given them. For the first time in his life, Commander Al of the mighty hegemony felt truly afraid. The human ship Defiant had not always been special. 5 years ago, it was just another Earth military vessel. It carried basic weapons and simple armor. It was built to patrol trade routes and protect colonies from pirates. But then the war with the Empire began. They had ships twice the size of anything humans could build. Their plasma weapons could cut through human armor like paper. In the first battle, Earth lost 12 ships and barely escaped with any survivors. Captain Sarah remembered that day. She had been a lieutenant then, serving on the destroyer Courage. She watched good people die because human weapons were too weak and human armor too thin. That night, as her ship limped home, she made a promise. Humans would never be helpless again. The Earth Council called for new ideas. Scientists and engineers from every nation worked together. Some wanted to build bigger guns. Others wanted to make thicker armor. But a small team led by Dr. Martinez had a different idea. "We cannot match their firepower," Dr. Martinez told the council. "We do not have their resources or their technology, but we can be smarter." Her team had discovered something amazing. They found a way to make materials that could change themselves. These materials could study any attack and learn how to stop it, not just once but forever. They called it adaptive metamaterial. It was made of billions of tiny machines smaller than human cells. Each machine could talk to all the others. When energy hit the material, the machines would study it, understand it, and change to stop it. But Dr. Martinez went further. The machines did not just stop attacks. They stored the energy and learned how to copy the weapons that fired it. The first test was amazing. They fired a laser at a small piece of the material. The laser bounced off harmlessly. Then they fired the same laser again. This time, the material absorbed the energy completely. On the third test, the material fired the same laser back. "It learns," Dr. Martinez explained to the amazed council. "It adapts. It grows stronger with every attack." The council approved her project immediately. They chose the Defiant for the first installation because Captain had volunteered her ship and crew. She understood what the technology meant for humanity's future. The installation took 6 months. They replaced the entire hull of the ship with the adaptive metamaterial. They connected it to the ship's computers and power systems. They trained the crew to work with the new technology. Captain remembered the day they finished. Dr. Martinez stood with her on the bridge, watching engineers run final tests on the systems. "This will change everything," Dr. Martinez said, "but only if we use it wisely." "What do you mean?" asked Captain. "The material can copy any weapon fired at us. We could become the most powerful military force in the galaxy, but power like that can corrupt people. It can make them think they are better than others." Captain nodded. She understood. "We use it to protect, not to conquer." "Exactly. We defend ourselves and help others. We show the galaxy that strength should serve justice, not greed." Now, facing the massive warship, Captain remembered those words. The alien weapons had made her ship incredibly powerful. The adaptive hull had absorbed energy from plasma cannons, quantum disruptors, and graviton torpedoes. The ship's computers now understood technology better than they did. "Dr. Martinez," said Captain, "how much energy do we have stored?" Dr. Martinez checked her instruments. "Enough to power Earth's largest cities for a month. The alien weapons were incredibly powerful." "And the weapon analysis?" "Complete. We now know how to create plasma beams, quantum disruptors, and graviton fields. We could destroy their ship easily." Captain looked at the alien vessel on her screen. It was huge and threatening, covered in weapons designed to kill. But she also knew it carried living beings, people with families and dreams and fears. Tactical options, Mr. Torres. Lieutenant Commander Torres, her tactical officer, studied his displays. We have several choices, Captain. We could return their own weapons at triple power. That would destroy them instantly. Or we could use targeted strikes to disable their engines and weapons without killing the crew. Captain thought about her choices. The aliens had tried to destroy her ship and kill her crew. They had threatened the innocent people on the colony world. Many captains would choose revenge. But Captain remembered her promise and Dr. Martinez's warning. Power without wisdom was just another form of evil. Mr. Torres, prepare precision strikes. Target their weapons and engines only. Do not harm their life support or medical facilities. Captain, said her first officer, Commander Jackson, they tried to kill us. Why are we showing mercy? Captain turned to face her crew. They all looked at her with trust and respect. These people had followed her into battle against impossible odds. They deserved an honest answer. Because that is what makes us human, she said. We could destroy them, yes, but then we would be no better than they are. We fight to protect others, not to prove we are stronger. She turned back to the main screen. The alien ship was still there, weapons still pointing at her vessel. She knew the alien commander was confused and afraid. His most powerful weapons had failed completely. Communications, open a channel to the ship. Channel open, Captain. Commander Al, this is Captain. Your weapons have failed. Our ship is now much more powerful than yours. But we do not wish to kill you or your crew. We will disable your ship's weapons and engines. Then we will talk. The alien commander appeared on screen. His blue-gray face showed fear and anger. You think you have won, human. My ship carries 5,000 warriors. We will never surrender. Commander, said Captain, we are not asking for surrender. We are offering mercy. Your choice is simple. Let us disable your weapons safely, or we will do it by force. Either way, no one has to die today. She nodded to Lieutenant Commander Torres. Fire. The Defiant unleashed its power, but it was not the wild destruction the aliens had used. Instead, precise beams of energy shot from the human ship. Each beam was perfectly aimed at a specific target. The first beam hit the main plasma cannon on the alien ship. The weapon exploded, but the explosion was contained. It did not spread to other parts of the ship. The second beam struck the quantum disruptor array. Again, only the weapon was destroyed. One by one, the human ship destroyed every weapon on the alien vessel, but the hull remained intact. The engines were damaged but not destroyed. The crew quarters and life support systems were untouched. In 5 minutes, the mighty Void Render was helpless. Its weapons were gone. Its engines were failing, but its crew was alive and safe. Captain opened communications again. Commander Al, your ship is disabled, but your people are safe. We are sending repair teams to fix your life support and basic systems. We need to talk. The alien commander stared at her. His fear was now mixed with confusion. Why? He asked. Why did you not destroy us? Captain smiled. It was a sad smile, full of understanding. Because that is not who we are, Commander. Humans believe that true strength comes from protecting others, not from destroying them. The Void Render drifted in space like a wounded giant. Smoke came from the destroyed weapon ports. Emergency lights flashed along its hull. Inside the ship, alarms rang and damage reports flooded the bridge. Commander Al stood among his crew, trying to understand what had happened. His mighty warship, the pride of the fleet, had been defeated by a vessel 1/3 its size. The humans had destroyed every weapon on his ship without killing a single crew member. Damage report, he ordered. Sir, said his tactical officer, all weapons destroyed. Main engines at 30%. Life support is stable, But sir, we have no way to fight or run. Casualties. 12 injured from equipment failures. No deaths. Al could not understand it. The humans could have killed everyone on his ship. Instead, they had carefully disabled his weapons while keeping his crew safe. Why would an enemy show such restraint? Sir, said the communications officer, the humans are requesting permission to board. Board? Al felt his anger rising again. They want to take prisoners. They say they want to help with repairs and medical assistance. Al looked around his bridge. His crew watched him with worried eyes. They were proud warriors, but they had never faced anything like this before. They did not know what to do. Sir, said his first officer quietly, our weapons are gone. Our engines are failing. If they wanted to kill us, they could do it easily. Maybe we should listen to them. Al did not want to admit it, but his officer was right. The humans held all the power now. If they wanted prisoners or slaves, they would take them anyway. Tell them they may board, he said, but they will find that warriors do not break easily. 20 minutes later, a small human shuttle attached to the void render. Al watched the airlock with his remaining guards. He expected armed soldiers to come through the door. He expected weapons and threats. Instead, 3 humans walked onto his ship. One was Captain, wearing her blue uniform. The second was an older human male carrying medical equipment. The third was a younger human female with engineering tools. None of them carried weapons. Captain approached Al with her hands open and empty. Commander, I am Captain Sarah. This is Dr. Williams, our medical officer, and Engineer Park. We are here to help. Al stared at her. Help, you have defeated us. Why do you not take us prisoner? Because we are not here to conquer, said Captain. We are here because your crew is hurt and your ship needs repairs. Dr. Williams will treat your injured. Engineer Park will fix your life support systems. I do not understand, said Al. We tried to destroy you. We would have killed everyone on your ship. Why are you helping us? Captain looked around the alien bridge. She saw the advanced technology and the proud warriors, but she also saw the fear and confusion in their eyes. Commander, may I ask you a question? What? Before you found our ship, what were you doing in this system? Al hesitated. Then he decided to answer honestly. We were mapping new territories for the hegemony. We scout systems, eliminate resistance, and prepare them for conquest. And after conquest, what happens to the people who lived there? The strong ones become workers. The weak ones are eliminated. It is the way of the galaxy. Captain nodded sadly. That is where you are wrong, Commander. That is not the way of the galaxy. That is just the way some species choose to live. She gestured toward Dr. Williams, who was already treating injured crew members. Humans believe that every thinking being has value. We believe that the strong should protect the weak, not destroy them. Al watched the human doctor work. He was being gentle with the injured aliens. He treated them as carefully as he would treat his own people. The injured looked surprised by his kindness. You speak of protection, said Al, but you defeated our ship easily. Your weapons are superior to ours. Our defenses are superior, Captain corrected. We built technology to protect ourselves, not to attack others. The power you felt came from your own weapons. We simply learned from them and reflected them back. Engineer Park had connected her tools to the ship's systems. She worked quickly to repair the damaged life support. As she worked, she explained what she was doing to curious engineers. Your life support was damaged when the weapon ports exploded, she said. But the damage is not serious. I can fix it in 2 hours. A young engineer watched her work. Why are you fixing our ship? We are your enemies. Engineer Park looked up from her work. You are not our enemies. You were ordered to attack us, but that does not make you evil. You are just people doing your job. The young engineer seemed confused by her answer. In culture, enemies were enemies. There was no middle ground. Captain continued talking with Commander Al. "Commander, may I show you something?" She activated her personal data pad. The screen showed images of the colony world they had been protecting. "These are the people we came here to defend," she said, "but look closely." Al studied the images. He saw humans working in fields and cities, but he also saw other species. There were with their green scales and large eyes. There were with their 6 arms and crystal-like skin. There were even some, the species that had once been Earth's enemies. "I do not understand," said Al. "These are different species. Why are they all together?" "Because they all needed protection," said Captain. "They were fleeing a plague on there. There were refugees from a civil war. There were survivors from battles with your people. You take in your enemies. We take in anyone who needs help. They were our enemies once, yes. We fought them for 2 years. But when there was attacked by another species, we offered them sanctuary." Al could not believe what he was hearing. "You protect the people you once fought." "Yes, because fighting someone does not make them worthless. It just means you disagreed about something. When the fighting stops, you can choose to help each other instead." Dr. Williams approached them. "Captain, I have treated all the injured. They will be fine, but I have a question for the commander." "What is it, Doctor?" asked Captain. "Commander," said Dr. Williams to Al, "your crew is very malnourished. When did they last have a good meal?" Al was surprised by the question. "Warriors do not need comfort food. We eat rations for efficiency." "That explains a lot," said Dr. Williams. "Captain, their entire crew is suffering from vitamin deficiencies and stress. They have been living on processed food for months." Captain looked at Al with concern. "Commander, when did you last visit a planet? When did your crew last see sunlight or breathe fresh air?" 2 years ago," said Al. "We are warriors. Comfort makes us weak." "No," said Captain firmly. "Comfort makes you human, or in your case, it makes you. Your crew needs rest and good food and time to be people, not just soldiers." She activated her communicator. "Commander Jackson, prepare one of our shuttles. We are taking some of our guests to the colony for medical treatment and rest." "Captain," said Al, "you cannot trust us on your colony. We are your prisoners." "You are not prisoners, Commander. You are guests who need help, and humans help their guests." For the first time since the battle began, Al felt something he had not felt in years. He felt hope. Not hope for victory or conquest, but hope for something better. Hope for a different way to live. But he was still a commander. He still had duties to his people and his empire. "Captain," he said, "what you offer sounds wonderful, but I have orders. I must report to my superiors. They will send more ships." Captain nodded. "I understand, Commander. You have to make a choice. You can return to your empire and report our location, or you can learn more about how we live and decide what is really important to you." She looked around at his crew. Many of them were listening to their conversation. They looked thoughtful and confused and hopeful all at the same time. "The choice is yours, Commander, but remember this. You came here to conquer. Instead, you found something worth protecting. The question is, what will you do with that knowledge?" 3 days later, Commander Al stood on the surface of 442B. He had never seen anything like it. The colony was not a military base. It was not a factory or mining operation. It was a place where people lived and worked and raised families together. Children of different species played in parks while their parents talked and laughed. He watched a human child teaching a child how to throw a ball. The child had trouble with the game because his species had 3 arms instead of 2. But instead of giving up, the human child changed the rules to make it fair for both of them. "Amazing, is it not?" said a voice behind him. Al turned to see Captain approaching. She had traded her military uniform for simple civilian clothes. She looked relaxed and happy. "I do not understand it," said Al. "These species were enemies not long ago. How do they live together in peace?" Because they choose to, said Captain. Every day, they choose to be neighbors instead of enemies. They choose to help each other instead of hurting each other. They walked together through the colony's main street. Al saw engineers working alongside human scientists. He saw artists teaching human children how to make crystal sculptures. He saw families that included parents from different species, all caring for children together. But how do they settle disagreements? Asked Al. What happens when they argue? They talk, said Captain. They listen to each other. They find solutions that work for everyone. As if to prove her point, they passed a small crowd gathered around two people having a discussion. One was a human farmer, the other was an engineer. They were talking about water rights for the local crops. The irrigation system needs more power, the engineer was saying. But that means less power for the residential areas. What if we used solar collectors during the day for irrigation? Suggested the farmer. Then we could use the main power grid at night for homes. That could work, said the engineer, but we would need more solar panels. In the crowd spoke up. My people know how to make efficient crystals for collecting sunlight. We could help build the panels. And I could adjust the farming schedule to use less water during peak hours, said an who had joined the discussion. In minutes, the problem was solved. No one had argued or fought. Everyone had contributed ideas until they found a solution that helped everyone. Al stared in amazement. In the hegemony, such disagreements are settled by whoever has the most power. That is not a solution, said Captain. That is just forcing the weak to obey the strong. Real solutions make everyone stronger. They continued walking until they reached a small medical center. Through the window, Al could see Dr. Williams treating patients. Some were human, some were alien. All were being cared for with equal attention. My crew, said Al, how are they? See for yourself, said Captain. They entered the medical center. In the recovery room, several of Al's officers were resting in comfortable beds, but they were not alone. Colony residents were visiting them, bringing food and conversation. Al saw his weapons officer, Subcommander On, laughing at something a human child had said. The child was showing him drawings of spaceships. On was explaining how real ships worked, and the child listened with wide eyes. Subcommander, said Al, are you well? On looked up with surprise. Commander, yes, I am well, better than I have been in years. These humans have strange medicine. They not only heal the body, they heal the spirit. What do you mean? A human woman sitting nearby smiled. I think he means we treat the whole person, not just the injury. Your officer was not just hurt physically. He was tired and stressed and lonely. So we gave him food, rest, and friendship. On nodded. Commander, when did we last have a real conversation with anyone? When did we last laugh or play games or just relax? I had forgotten what it felt like to be happy. Al felt a pain in his heart. He looked around at his officers. They all looked healthier and more alive than they had in months. The constant stress and anger of military life had been replaced with something else, something peaceful. Commander, said Captain quietly, could we speak privately? They left the medical center and walked to a quiet garden. Human and alien flowers grew together in colorful patterns. The air smelled sweet and clean. Commander, said Captain, you have to make a decision soon. Your ship is repaired. Your crew is healthy. You could leave any time. Yes, said Al. I could return to the hegemony and report your location. More ships would come, many more ships. And if they came, what would happen? Al thought about the question. He imagined hegemony battle fleets arriving at this peaceful world. He imagined plasma cannons burning the gardens. He imagined the families torn apart, the children crying, the laughter silenced forever. They would destroy everything, he said quietly. Yes, and your people would miss something wonderful. They would miss the chance to learn a better way to live. Al was silent for a long time. He watched the children playing in the distance. He listened to the sound of different species working together in harmony. He smelled the clean air and felt the warm sunlight on his skin. "Captain," he said finally, "my entire life has been about conquest. I was taught that the strong should rule the weak. I was taught that different species cannot live together in peace. And now I see that everything I was taught was wrong, but I am still a commander. I have duties. I have orders." Captain nodded. "I understand, but let me ask you something. What are your real duties? Are you supposed to make your people stronger? Are you supposed to protect them and help them grow?" "Yes," said Al. "A commander's first duty is to his people." "Then think about this. Would your people be stronger if they learned to work with others instead of fighting them? Would they be safer if they had friends throughout the galaxy instead of enemies? Would they be happier if they lived like the people in this colony?" Al closed his eyes. He thought about his home world, where warriors lived in constant competition with each other. He thought about the endless wars, the constant fear, the loneliness of a life spent fighting. Then he thought about the last 3 days. He thought about his officers laughing and playing with human children. He thought about the peaceful discussions he had witnessed. He thought about the feeling of safety and friendship that filled this colony. "Captain," he said, "what are you asking me to do?" "I am asking you to choose. You can return to your old life of conquest and war, or you can help your people find a better way." "But if I do not report back, the hegemony will send other ships to find me." "Yes, and when they arrive, they will find something they do not expect. They will find officers working alongside humans and other species. They will see former enemies living as friends. Some of them might choose to stay and learn." Al opened his eyes. "You want me to help you change my people's minds? I want you to show them what you have learned. I want you to give them the same choice you have." That evening, Al called his senior officers together. They met in the colony's community center, a place where all species gathered for meetings and celebrations. "My friends," he said, "we must decide our future." He told them about his conversation with Captain. He explained the choice they faced. They could return to the hegemony and continue their old lives, or they could stay and help build something new. "Sir," said Subcommander On, "I have served the hegemony for 20 years. I have fought many battles and conquered many worlds, but I have never been as happy as I have been these past 3 days." "What are you saying?" asked Al. "I am saying that I would like to stay. I would like to learn more about this peaceful way of life. And when other hegemony ships come, I would like to show them what I have learned." One by one, his other officers spoke. Each told the same story. They had found something here that they had never known before. They had found peace. In the end, half of his crew chose to stay. The others, while moved by what they had seen, felt they needed to return home to their families and duties. Al made his own choice. He would stay, but he would also send a message to the hegemony. He would tell them about the human colony, but he would tell them the truth. He would explain that the humans were not weak enemies to be conquered, but strong friends to be respected. 6 months later, when the first hegemony ship arrived to investigate, they found something unprecedented. They found their own people working alongside former enemies. They found warriors teaching alien children how to fight, while alien teachers showed children how to make art. Some of the new arrivals were angry, some were confused, but others were curious. They stayed to learn more. And slowly, one person at a time, the galaxy began to change. Commander Al, now calling himself simply Vex, stood again on the surface of 442b. But this time, he was not alone. His daughter, born on this world to him and his human partner, played in the garden with children from a dozen different species. She would grow up knowing that different did not mean enemy. She would grow up believing that the strong should protect the weak. She would grow up human in all the ways that mattered, even though she was by blood. Captain found him watching his daughter play. "Any regrets?" she asked. Vex smiled. It was a truly happy smile. "Only one," he said. "I regret that it took so long for my people to meet yours. We could have been friends much sooner." "We are friends now," said Captain. "That is what matters." In the distance, a new ship appeared in the sky. It was neither human nor. It was something new entirely, a vessel built by both species working together. On board were explorers from many worlds, united not by conquest but by curiosity. The age of endless war was ending. The age of cooperation had begun. And it had started with one human ship that refused to surrender, and one alien commander who learned that there was something worth protecting in the galaxy, the dream of a better tomorrow for everyone.